You wake up to a storm already unfolding, with Summer Walker, Rich the Kid, and his longtime partner Tori all locked into a public confrontation that feels like it erupted overnight. According to unverified rumors spreading across social media, Summer Walker allegedly threatened to leak an intimate tape involving her and Rich the Kid. The claims surfaced as snippets of IG live streams, voicemail recordings, and screen captures began circulating, creating a digital fireball that all three parties have now been pulled into. What followed was a cascade of accusations, denials, and emotional outbursts that left fans scrambling to understand how deep the situation really goes. Witnesses on Instagram Live described Summer speaking in long, uninterrupted bursts, detailing how she and Rich were never actually together, insisting she doesn't even like him, and explaining that she only interacted with him a few times a year when she wanted gifts, travel, or financial perks. She claimed Rich pursued her persistently, even while being publicly linked to Tori, and suggested he loves when women fight over him, framing the behavior as a sign of low self-esteem and emotional manipulation. Tori, meanwhile, appeared to take direct offense, posting old voice notes and alleged messages that she says prove Summer entertained Rich while knowing he was committed elsewhere. Summer countered that the messages were months old, that Tori waited until her album rollout to post them, and that she was ignoring the alleged 25 other women Rich spoke to during the same time frame. Rich the Kid, for his part, responded with brief posts appearing to downplay the allegations, offering minimal clarity and leaving most of the narrative in the hands of the two women, both frustrated, both accusing the other of ignoring the real problem. As the back and forth intensified, fans asked whether the situation represented a love triangle, a publicity stunt, or just a years-long pattern finally spilling into public view. And now people are wondering, if you were caught in a situation where old receipts suddenly resurfaced months later, would you address it publicly or step back and let the truth unfold without you? The unfolding tension between Summer Walker, Rich the Kid, and Tori has pushed a deeper conversation into the spotlight, one that extends far beyond celebrity drama. At the center of this situation is a recurring pattern that relationship psychologists often describe as a toxic loyalty loop, where individuals stay tied to partners who repeatedly show destructive behavior. Throughout Summer's livestream comments, she suggested that Rich intentionally stirs conflict between women because he enjoys the attention and validation it brings. She described him as someone who likes to be fought over, who encourages emotional reactions, and who continues pursuing multiple women even while being in a long-term relationship. She even pointed to a history of alleged infidelity, pregnancies, and ongoing contact with numerous partners as examples of behavior that has been present for years rather than isolated incidents. On the other side, Tori's reaction shows the emotional toll these patterns can take. Her decision to confront Summer online, post old voice messages, and single her out as the problem reflects how individuals in unstable relationships often redirect their frustration. Instead of confronting the partner responsible for the betrayal, anger is displaced onto outside parties, sometimes because it feels safer, sometimes because the deeper issue is harder to face. Summer herself told viewers that she has never been the type to confront other women, and that people should take issues up with the person they are committed to, not the person they pursued externally. Experts explain that relationships built on instability, infidelity, and emotional manipulation tend to create an addictive cycle. Moments of chaos are followed by temporary reconciliation, keeping the relationship locked in an unpredictable rhythm. In cases like this, the public sees only the explosive moments, but the private emotional history is usually long, complicated, and deeply rooted. This drama highlights how common it is for people, celebrity or not, to stay in situations where they're consistently hurt, hoping the person they love will eventually change. Fans watching the situation unfold questioned whether loyalty should be measured by longevity or by emotional safety. And now people are wondering, if someone repeatedly shows they won't commit or respect you, is staying with them an act of love or a sign that you're afraid to leave? As more of the conflict between Summer Walker, Rich the Kid, and Tori surfaced online, observers began focusing on a larger issue that reaches far beyond the individuals involved: the emotional patterns that keep people tied to relationships long after trust has eroded. The situation has become an example of what therapists often describe as an attachment cycle built on chaos, reassurance, and confusion. Summer's comments painted Rich as someone who thrives in the middle of emotional tension. She claimed he likes to be fought over, framing the behavior as something that gives him a sense of validation. In her breakdown, she described a repeated pattern where he allegedly fuels arguments, plays both sides, and then re-engages with whichever person is willing to respond. That creates a cycle where conflict becomes the glue holding the situation together, rather than affection or commitment. Tori's responses highlighted the other side of the loop, the part where someone keeps trying to win the partner back, even in the face of humiliation, infidelity, or ongoing disrespect. By posting old audio messages and confronting Summer publicly, she seemed determined to prove a point rather than address the underlying emotional damage. In many relationships like this, the urge to hold on becomes stronger than the recognition that the bond may no longer be healthy. Commentators noted that Summer repeatedly emphasized that she does not like Rich romantically, suggesting that her participation was transactional rather than emotional. Meanwhile, Tori's reactions appeared deeply emotional and personal, showing two people operating under completely different motivations while orbiting the same relationship dynamic. Psychologists say these mismatched motivations often create instability. One person remains tied to the partner through emotion, while the other remains tied through convenience, access, or financial benefit. When those worlds collide, it leads to confrontations like the one playing out publicly now. Confrontations fueled by resentment, insecurity, and long-standing patterns neither party has broken. And now people are asking, when someone keeps choosing chaos over accountability, should the people around them finally walk away or keep trying to fix something that may never change? As the tension between Summer Walker, Rich the Kid, and Tori continued to spill across social media, another conversation began rising online. How much public drama can an artist absorb before it starts affecting their career? The music industry has watched countless public figures navigate messy personal situations, but the timing of this specific conflict has drawn unusual attention. Summer's new album rollout is approaching, and fans have questioned whether the controversy will overshadow her music or amplify it. In the live stream clips being reposted, Summer spoke at length about the situation, delivering emotional commentary that ranged from frustration to exhaustion. While some supporters viewed her transparency as honest and relatable, others questioned whether the spectacle might distract from the artistry she's built her brand on. For an artist known for vulnerability and deeply emotional storytelling, the perception of internet drama can alter how audiences interpret new music, either as catharsis or as chaos. Rich the Kid, meanwhile, has experienced fluctuating public perception in recent years, and this conflict places him back under a microscope. His limited and cryptic responses to the accusations have left room for speculation, with many viewers waiting to see whether the controversy will impact his upcoming collaborations or public image. Historically, male artists often emerge largely unaffected by personal scandals, but the volatility of the current social climate makes outcomes harder to predict. Tori's involvement adds another layer, presenting a narrative of hurt, frustration, and repeated relationship turmoil. Her public responses contribute to a larger storyline that fans are now dissecting, turning the situation into an ongoing episode rather than a one-time event. When personal issues become serialized, they can overshadow the work artists hope people will focus on. Some fans argue that controversy drives streams, pointing to past examples where personal drama boosted an artist's visibility. Others believe audiences eventually grow fatigued when the noise drowns out the music itself. As more clips circulate, Summer's name trends not for her vocals, but for a dispute she says she's ready to walk away from entirely. And now people are wondering, do moments like this help an artist stay relevant, or does too much public conflict eventually make fans tune out the music altogether? As viewers replayed Summer Walker's live stream, one part of her message stood out more than anything else: her blunt admission that she does not like Rich the Kid, does not want a relationship with him, and only dealt with him a few times a year, specifically when she wanted travel, gifts, money, or a financial favor. Her tone was unapologetic, even casual, saying she would stop answering him until he opened that wallet, and that she only tolerated him long enough to get what she wanted. That statement immediately ignited a debate online about transactional relationships, blurred boundaries, and the fine line between emotional detachment and exploitation. Some commenters argued that Summer was simply being transparent about a dynamic that exists widely in dating culture but is rarely admitted out loud. Others criticized the arrangement, arguing that intentionally accepting gifts or money from someone you have no romantic interest in can create emotional damage, especially if the other person believes they're building something meaningful. Tori's reaction amplified that tension. From her perspective, Summer's involvement wasn't transactional at all, but disrespectful and intrusive. She saw it as Summer stepping into a relationship she believed was exclusive, regardless of how unhealthy or unstable it may have been internally. Meanwhile, Summer insisted the accountability belonged solely to Rich, saying he pursued her, not the other way around. The broader conversation raises a question many people face in their own lives. When someone willingly offers money, gifts, or attention, does accepting it automatically imply emotional responsibility? Or is it up to the giver to recognize the difference between generosity and attachment? The debate becomes even more complex when power dynamics are involved. Summer emphasized she is financially stable, adding that she didn't need anything from Rich but took things when she felt like it. That adds another layer. When someone doesn't rely on the support but still accepts it, does the moral weight shift? As the situation continues circulating online, it has become less about celebrity drama and more about the ethics of mixing emotions with financial exchange. And now people are asking, if someone keeps offering gifts and money without a real relationship in place, is it wrong to accept it, or is it their responsibility to stop giving? As the conflict escalated across social media, a recurring theme emerged: the question of who should be held responsible when cheating. Mixed signals or emotional manipulation take place. Summer Walker repeatedly emphasized that Tori was confronting the wrong person, insisting that Rich the Kid initiated every interaction, pursued her consistently, and maintained contact even when she stopped responding. In her words, he pursued every woman, not the other way around. Those statements shifted the conversation toward a deeper examination of accountability and why, in many relationship conflicts, the outside party becomes the primary target. Observers noted that Tori's energy was focused almost entirely on Summer. She posted voice notes, went through Rich's phone, leaked old messages, and directed her anger toward Summer for engaging with him. But at the center of the conflict sits Rich, whose behavior, if Summer's version is accurate, appears to be the origin point of the turmoil. Summer described a cycle in which he allegedly enjoys creating tension, encourages rivalry, and fuels drama between the people involved. In situations like this, the partner's role often becomes overshadowed as anger gets redirected elsewhere. Sociologists say this pattern is common in unstable relationships. Confronting the partner who betrayed trust often requires acknowledging painful truths. The relationship may not be exclusive, the commitment may not be genuine, or the love may not be reciprocated. Those realities can be emotionally overwhelming. It becomes easier to focus on an outside person, someone who feels like a threat, instead of facing the deeper instability inside the relationship itself. Yet Summer presented the opposite perspective. She argued she had nothing to do with the internal issues between Rich and Tori, and she emphasized that she never pursued him. She claimed she interacted only when convenient, and that the emotional attachments belonged elsewhere. Her frustration seemed grounded in being held responsible for a situation she said she had no romantic investment in. The debate has sparked broader conversations about blame, projection, and the uncomfortable truth that relationships break down from the inside, not because of someone standing nearby. And now people are wondering when betrayal happens. Should accountability fall entirely on the partner who broke the commitment, or do outside participants share some responsibility too? As more clips and screenshots circulated from all sides, viewers began noticing a pattern that shifted the tone of the entire situation. The receipts being posted didn't align, didn't match the timelines, and didn't paint a consistent picture. Instead, the leaks raised questions about selective evidence, narrative control, and why people choose to reveal certain messages while withholding others. Summer Walker repeatedly pointed out that the messages Tori posted were old, months old, according to her. She suggested that Tori either sat on the recordings until now or only recently found them, calling the timing weird and hinting that it coincided suspiciously with her upcoming album release. Whether intentional or coincidental, the delay created confusion. Old messages resurfacing suddenly often blur the context, allowing assumptions to take over where clarity is missing. Summer also questioned why Tori only posted messages involving her. According to Summer, Rich communicated with 25 other women during the same period. None of those interactions surfaced online, creating a selective narrative where Summer appeared to be the main focus despite allegedly being just one part of a much larger pattern. This selective framing opened discussions about motivation. Was the goal to expose the situation truthfully or to target a specific person? The situation became even more tangled when Summer referenced a pasteboard screenshot of a ring allegedly not being on Tori's hand, claiming Rich showed her proof before Summer ever interacted with him again. These kinds of details, ambiguous, unverifiable, pulled from private conversations, make it difficult for viewers to understand the full story. Instead, people are left piecing together fragments, each coming from a different emotional motive. Selective receipts tend to create more questions than answers. They can paint a partial truth that feels complete, even when it's missing key context. And when the leaks are old, out of order, or posted without explanation, they risk damaging credibility rather than strengthening it. This conflict has become less about the messages themselves, and more about how they're used, tools to validate feelings, justify anger, or shift public perception. And now people are asking, when someone only leaks the parts that support their side of the story, does it make you trust them more? Or does it make you question what they chose not to show? As the back and forth between Summer Walker, Rich the Kid, and Tori stretched across multiple days, the situation transformed from a private dispute into a full-scale public spectacle. Screenshots, live streams, voice notes, indirects, and personal accusations created an ongoing narrative that fans began following almost like a reality series. But beneath the entertainment value, the situation exposed a deeper truth about how relationships, conflict, and emotional chaos take shape in the digital era. Summer emphasized throughout her live stream that she was tired, done with both of them, and ready to remove herself entirely from the dynamic. Her frustration seemed rooted not only in the accusations but in the exhaustion of having a private situation pulled into public discourse. She described years of toxic cycles, mixed signals, and emotional manipulation, dynamics that reached a breaking point only after evidence began leaking online. Her final message was one of detachment. She no longer wanted to participate in a triangle she claimed she was never emotionally invested in. Rich the Kid, meanwhile, remained relatively quiet. His short responses and light dismissals left the public without clarity, allowing the two women's narratives to dominate the conversation. That silence became a story of its own, a reminder that the person at the center of the conflict sometimes remains the least vocal, even as the fallout spreads. Tori's reactions revealed the emotional cost of long-term instability. Her anger, her confrontations, and her decision to make the situation public reflected years of pain reaching the surface. Whether her goal was vindication, exposure, or simply being heard, her actions turned a private heartbreak into a viral conversation. What started as a rumor-filled spiral evolved into commentary about gender roles, accountability, emotional boundaries, and the ways people use social media to validate feelings they can't process privately. Viewers watched three people, each with different motives, collide in a public arena where every word is preserved, replayed, and analyzed. In the end, the situation raised more questions than it answered. It showed how quickly personal issues become content, how easily narratives become distorted, and how often people stay in damaging situations long after they should walk away. It also revealed how modern relationships, especially involving public figures, can spiral into entertainment for millions of strangers. And now people are left wondering, if a relationship only survives through screenshots, arguments, and leaked messages, is it even a relationship anymore? Or just a storyline